fed up with chat rooms, forums and grinding. It all turns into fast food and I need a proper diet with all the right nutrients and vitamins. As much as it pains me to say this, as I really hate the stereotype, but all most men want is a quick shag. Most being the operative word, as there are a good few among us who are looking for something more. I'll also be quick to point out that when I say all most men want to do is shag, that incorporates gay, bi and straight. It's a common fact most men are led through the wilderness by their knobs, and consequences are often realised in the wake of the aftermath. Thankfully, those of us still searching for that resonating relationship with the future still exists somewhere. I have managed to convince myself that the only reason we haven't met yet is because we've been waiting for something to draw us closer. Please don't ask me what that something is yet, as I really don't have a clue at this present moment. I've taken myself out on a quest to find guidance. I'm reluctant to say spiritual, simply because I don't really know what that means for me yet.
I'm fed up with the local bars and chat rooms at home. I needed to get out and find somewhere to roam with freedom and no preconceptions of what's gonna happen or who I'm gonna meet. What will he look like? What will he sound like? Will he be camp? Will he have a funny penis? Will he make me laugh? I want new environments, new ground for me to play around. I'm free again and I can do exactly what I want to do. 12 years of being enslaved to a much more mature man was enough to put me off for life. That's commitment, not me. So now I can just wander around the playing field, aimlessly searching, prowling, hunting, finding me some nice prime meat for my dinner, a piece of meat that I can discard the carcass once I've finished. Throw him back to the lions for a second pickings. That may sound ruthless, but that is what life has taught me. Never be the first one to open up and give your heart away. Cold and composed, and the curious will come flocking.
I was told by a great woman, names I won't mention, that to free your mind of any thoughts, any ideas, any feelings, if only for a few minutes, will be the only therapy we need as over-thoughtful human beings. It's like defragmenting our computers. We know it's going to get filled up with junk again, but we can clean it once more and start over. From all the books I've read about relationships, maintaining them, working at them, finding one, keeping one, the main point which will always resonate for me is how it will more than likely happen when we aren't thinking about it. So I've adapted that philosophy. Well, at least I think I have.
12 years. 12 years of suffering with a man who only used me to make him look good out in society. I should have known that the 10-year gap would have become a problem down the line. I don't know what kept me with him for so long. After a while it becomes all you know. There was a visa process. I couldn't leave the country. There was emotional blackmail, material possessions, dogs. I never really believed that I could walk free again from a man who only used me for sex.
I feel empty now. I noticed that man earlier on throwing a few glances over. Do you think it means something? Am I reading the signals wrong? If they actually are signals, of course. On first impressions, not bad. A little bit smaller than what I would usually go for, but... hold on. Now you're thinking like one of them. That's not what this is all about. That's not what you're about, is it? If this isn't just in your imagination, then this is a sign. Do you believe in signs though? I mean, isn't that why you came here today, to do some soul searching?
He definitely has noticed me. Wow, Keith wasn't wrong about this place. Who would have thought you could pick up here?
What do I say? If I make the first move, I'll look desperate, like all I want is a shag. Oh, for fuck's sakes, if you don't say anything, then he'll never know. What's conversation anyway? It's friendly, regardless of any intention.
You know, sometimes I just can't be bothered with all the formalities. Why do men have to speak anyway when all they think about is sex? Haven't we got to that place yet where casual sex doesn't warrant a conversation?
Of all the places to meet someone, who would have expected it here?
I think this is going to be easy. I'll definitely come here again.
Yeah, he's got a nice smile. That can mean friendly, warm, happy. He'll need to be happy. I've had enough of mood-fluctuating, mentally impaired men that I seem to attract too often for some reason. Yeah, why is that? Why do I attract men like that? What kind of vibe must I be exuding?
This is good. Hardly any conversation. Well, hardly worth remembering anyway. He's probably really dirty and adventurous. Quiet ones are all the same. A little bit freaked out about the way he's smiling at me though. It looks like he's already in love with me. Why do I attract those sorts? Where are all the mean, rugged bastards?
He seems very one-dimensional so far. But I won't let that impair my judgment. I've got to stop judging anyway. That is why I'm here. Maybe he's just a bit reserved. You can't expect a riveting, warts-and-all conversation on your first date anyway. It would be a first date, I guess, wouldn't it? Maybe if we had coffee inside, then we could call it a date.
Why do I get the feeling that this guy, whatever his name is again, is going to ask me out on a date? He's giving too much of himself away in one fucking conversation. If this is what you have to go through looking for a relationship, then I'm so glad I don't want one.
I'm going to put it down to nerves. He's obviously not used to so much conversation and encountering men in a situation like this. I don't think it's because he can't be bothered.
Shame. Because his face was okay until he opens his mouth and vomits. Well, I don't have to look at his face though, do I?
This place is amazing. You can find yourself in minutes and find someone else just before lunch. Just goes to show what can happen when you free your mind from any expectations. And there we are, back to square one.
Oh no, he wants to get married.
Should I? What do I do now? What do I do now? What should I do? Can I? Will I? Do I really want to? Do I really want to? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do now?
I'm a male, 43, versatile.
Some say that us homosexuals cannot commit. We say anyone can commit if you want.
And I'm ready to sing.
We go through the same problems and issues as you all do, but we may have a tendency to catastrophize and dramatize a little bit just for the sheer hell of it, but generally we go through the same.
Do what the house been tries to do today. This menial housewife who's so fucking boring. You've lost interest in. She needs to do her thing and scrub the dishes and wash the fucking linen. Just let it be. I'm busy. Big feet off. Big feet off. Just let it be. No, I won't let it be. I've got to do my chores, haven't I? Because I'm working. No, we have to clean the sheets. These sheets haven't been cleaned for a week. I thought we were going to do it every 4 days. Well, me, I've got to do it every 4 days because that's my job here, isn't it? That's my job. Whatever. Fuck off.
Some of you have your own ideas on how we meet potential partners. We don't all go to parks or notorious cruising grounds to meet a person with the same frontal arrangement as our own. Some of us do only seek a sexual partner and crave for carnal, no-strings, libidinous pleasure, but so do straight people. And is that really such a bad thing, as long as you're careful? A lot of us search a long time to find a partner who meets all of our needs. Yes, we're accused of being perfectionists and narcissistic beings who only care about aesthetics, but I would beg to differ. Everyone has to find some physical attraction initially, But like all of you, there are other aspects that matter. Do we argue more than others just because a lot of people believe us to be drama queens?
I don't have to lie here all night listening to this crap on top of a bouncy castle.
Do we kiss and make up like the rest of you? Of course we do. Those of us in a long-term relationship usually want a family just like you, but unless you're fortunate enough to be a lesbian, it's not quite as easy for the men, so we usually settle for family members of the very kind. Are we multifaceted people? Do we have many sides to our personality, and are we as exuberant and flamboyant as some suggest? Well, of course we are. Who wouldn't want to be? Who wouldn't want to be? We were born to adapt and avoid awkward situations, so if that makes us a little multifaceted, then so be it. Is it true we love to party? Hell yeah, we start the evening with a few vodkas, then head down to the city and visit a banging house club where we proceed to down sambuca shots, followed by a few necessary lines of Charlie to liven up and top the evening off with some pure molly to come down with a euphoric bang. Isn't that normal? Well, maybe in my heyday 15 years ago. I grew up in London in the 90s as a gay man. What else do you expect? So some of you truly believe that we go on too much about homophobia, prejudice and dissension. Another news story coming in over LGBT activists protesting outside some zealot fanatic white supremacist church, causing conflict with those who claim to be full of hate and disgust because God would want them to be. If the tables were turned, you would want to fight for your rights too, surely. It may be an ongoing perpetual conflict, but there are many thousands of openly gay people being imprisoned and murdered because of the way they're wired. So do you really believe we shouldn't be fighting for our rights? Are we overtly kinky and roleplay to keep it fresh? Do we regularly indulge in sadomasochism just because we get bored with conventional sex? Maybe. I'm sure some of us do, but again, I'm sure a lot of you do. Yeah, I know, I don't have to say that again, but you get the point. Surely everyone should be endeavouring to spice up their sex lives in whatever way they feel fit. Stops people from having affairs, doesn't it? Is one really Arthur and the other Martha? I'm sure there are a few, but it really doesn't work like that. We take on all aspects of life's activities, women's stuff, the manly stuff, and mix it all up, as most of us like to in the bedroom, and throw it in a box, or a pot, whatever. Versatility is so much broader and a lot of fun. Do we feel emotions like the rest of you? Do we ever worry? Yes, of course. We worry about fashion, whether our drug supply is going to get to our house before Pride, whether the price of Botox has gone up, and so on and so forth. Of course we worry. This one keeps coming up all the time. Are we anal? Again, I don't really understand the question. Do you mean anally retentive, or is it what I think it means? Anyway, did you know that many heterosexual people enjoy that too?
Look at all the hate. Where's it coming from? Governments and sheep. Where are you coming from? Look at how the world likes to place the blame. Chuck us in the fire if we're not the same. We should try to unify, use our own minds and really try. Bestow some peace and rectify all the violence and war at large. You're not this and you're not that. You don't pray while you're kneeling on a mat. Jesus doesn't love you because you did just that. It's not black, it's not white. You're burning in hell because you just ain't right. Now focus all that energy and try to find some empathy, for it takes all sorts to make a vibrant world. It's not just for you, and it's not just for me. It's for everything that breathes. It's for humans and animals, right up to the trees. We all have our place, unless you're an evil disgrace.
Stop whining and moaning because you're sad with all your lot. Educate yourself to see the world for what you've got.